dangerous team. They just haven't been able to do so. So for our sake, I hope they get it clicking because they need to beat the Rams this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to answer. I mean, but the Bear, I don't want to take away from the fact that the Bears had a really good all around game on Thursday night.
You know what? I'm not taking anything away from Mitch here at all because it looks like Nagy took the training wheels off on Dallas. It
Yeah, I
looks
think he
like,
opened up a little bit more.
yeah, there was some plays that we haven't seen in a long time from that offense. And Dallas, I mean, yeah, their offense, yeah, I mean, I get it. They're a lot of yards, but their defense is still talented. Like you look at their secondary, Jalen Smith, it's some of the best up and coming young players out there. And to Mitch, when he had that run and he literally was juking Jalen Smith, spin moving and go like I'm like, who is this kid? We haven't seen him
totally
all
different.
season long.
Yeah.
And it looks like Nagy's like, fine, just go out and do it instead of,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to stick to this game plan we set up for you. And it's good to see that because, like you said, it's confidence. And, you know, I was one of the biggest Trubisky haters on Twitter. I always was. So the thing is, I respect Nagy for doing that, and it's building Mitch's confidence, especially for a game like this coming up on Sunday. So
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. I mean, if you look at it, there were a couple plays that were different. I don't know how many of those design scrambles were actually designed. Nagy, I think it's more of Nagy taking out less of the dumb bonehead play calls than it is adding. More play calls for Mitch. I think he's going to start opening this play sheet up a little bit. You see the back of his sheet open, start being filled with plays a little bit. But
yeah, three games ago, I was like, "Where's the back page?"
I know, and I think you'll start seeing that fill up a little bit, and it just looks like the confidence. I think the shoulder injury that he had, like last year, really hindered his confidence, and I think you're starting to see. I mean, you just saw as when he came back, bad, and then it just gradually just kept getting better and better and better. Now these last two games, just dominating performances, and just hopefully we can keep it rolling. He hasn't had a 16 game season yet, so it makes you wonder. Is that really messing with his continuity and flow in the
his
game?
Rhythm, yeah.
Yeah. And especially shoulder. You don't want to get hit if he scrambles.
I want to get back to this because this ties in and this goes back because I want to keep reiterating this take for people because I think it helps in some of taking, in my opinion, it helps me take some of the harshness in which I want to grade Trubisky with when I watch him, right? He's still the youngest starting quarterback as far as starts go in the league after 3 years, okay? And so given that, I think maybe Nagy finally, maybe he had an epiphany. He woke up and rolled out of the right side of bed instead of left side of bed, put his right slipper on first instead of his left slipper, and suddenly when he went and get to his coffee, he thought, oh, maybe I should do like we usually would do for a rookie or young quarterback and go back to some easy college stuff where it makes easier reads and uses his athleticism to build his confidence so that it's easier for me to open up my playbook. And all of a sudden you see some things working. Why this hasn't been done a long time ago? Because Austin, Mitch hasn't changed. It's not like suddenly he's gotten all this much better because he really has had this stagnated growth process over his 3 years because his first year they were completely like 99% run, and my God, if Mitch throws it, it was going to be like some screen bubble play or whatever, so you can't count that. And then he had to start learning a new system, and this coach, if you really think about it, doesn't seem to have a whole lot of confidence in him going back to even last year, and so he's never been treated from a coaching staff as a young player in the proper manner in which a young player usually comes in and grows in an offense. And they're finally starting to do that, and so you're finally starting to be effective with Mitch Trubisky. It doesn't surprise me. It's just I'm starting to wonder why the hell it took him so long to get to this conclusion.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at Mitch and Deshaun in that draft class, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Holmes, and Mitch Trubisky was that quarterback that you were going to have to sit behind another veteran quarterback for at least a year to get anything out of him. And Mike Glennon sucked the first 4 games, and we put Mitch in, and I mean, it's what I expected. He started 1 year in college. He started 1 year in high school. I don't know what people were expecting from him immediately into the NFL. This is going to take so much time, and the dude works harder and studies film more than anyone. And it takes time. I've talked to plenty of people and former players that are like, it takes especially for a playbook this complicated, 3 years minimum to learn this thing. And, just think you come into a league, you learn a playbook, that coach gets fired. A more complicated playbook comes in. You're still young. You're still not confident in your game. You have to learn this playbook. You come out and go 12-4. You have all the confidence in the world. And then all of a sudden those gimme plays that he had last year are gone and he doesn't know what to do. And finally we're starting to see, him go through his progressions, not panic when the first progression isn't there. And, really gain confidence and understand the system. I don't know if it's so much Mitch changed or Nagy changed the play calls. It's more Mitch is starting to see these open guys. Nagy always schemed. He had these boneheaded calls that always get criticized, and that's where people would be like, what is he doing? And, when he minimizes that, you go back and watch the film, he's scheming guys wide open, and Mitch just is not seeing it. And now he is. And you're seeing the difference he's making, and you're seeing what happens when there's a play that's not there, and he runs out of the pocket. He keeps it going. He extends it with his legs. What we saw on Thursday night with Dallas is the potential of what you can get with Mitch Trubisky, if properly developed and if he reaches his full potential. That's what you could see game
really,
to game.
Austin, that's what you're going to get in the potential of phase 1 of Mitch. We never have gotten to phase 1 of Mitch's quarterback potential is what I'm trying to say. Like, what you're seeing now is really step 1, phase 1, and if he can keep being positive, even if they don't make the playoffs. I mean, playoffs or not, it's about, at this point, really, Austin, my point is it's about getting him from this point, building on this the rest of the season. And so now, instead of next year still being in this phase 1, we can now build on phase 1. We got through phase 1 in this year. Now next year we can get to those phase 2s where we're you know what I mean? And so now we're actually going to get to the progression of Mitch Trubisky, which has not happened to this point. Is what my point, I guess, to everybody.
I do think those 2-game injuries that he's had these past 2 seasons have absolutely contributed to him not performing well. I seriously think so. I think Mitch is a confidence guy, and if he doesn't have it, you can see it. And like you said, Jay, I think they're going to exercise his 5th option already, no matter what he does to close out the season. And I seriously think he builds on it and comes out next year. I think it's going to be, there was expectations this year. I think there's going to be even more for the offense, at least going into next year, because there's no excuses. There's absolutely no excuses. We need to bring in a vet to be ready to take his spot if Mitch doesn't show that he's progressed. But at this point, you're just feeling it build, and if they don't make the playoffs, we're in a good spot where, okay, he built to close out the year. He's gaining confidence. It should still be there when he comes back next August.
Well, you know what? Moving on to another injury that I wanted to save after Mitch. Does Akeem Hicks get reactivated tomorrow by 3 p.m. Central Time?
He will be on the field against the Packers on Sunday, and we are all pretty excited about that. So I think that's we brought up this question on the podcast, saw it around Twitter here and there, but I think Akeem coming back is bigger than losing Roquan Smith at this moment, judging by what KPL and Nick Kwiatkowski were able to do. And we've been getting gashed on the run game. Got what?
I'm already ahead of the game. I know what I'm about to talk about.
All right, go ahead.
Jay is like telling me, even though I already know. But anyways, I definitely respect Akeem Hicks. He's a game wrecker, man. I mean, we saw that game 1. He wrecked Lane Taylor. Like, he literally was over him most of the game because he was exposed week 1 last year, and it was just over and over and over again. And that's what it was. They couldn't stop Akeem, and finally they had to shift their blocks inside to where you had to double Akeem Hicks almost every play. Well, now Lane Taylor's down. Elton Jenkins seems to be like the stud of the second round that has been found this year in the draft. He's the only offensive lineman that hasn't given up a QB hit or a sack this year for interior offensive lineman, minimum 650 snaps. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe it. I had to go look it up. I was like, what? So that's the thing. Hicks has never played Jenkins. Jenkins has never played Hicks. I feel like it's going to be a movable force versus a unstoppable force versus an immovable object, because Jenkins has just stood up everyone he's played against this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I watched him pancake Jonathan Allen last week, and Jonathan Allen is no small man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not concerned about Akeem Hicks in the pass rush, just because we need someone on the ground, some Nick Williams, who currently leads I think Nick Williams, the replacement for Akeem Hicks, leads the team in sacks, and so I mean that's not the issue. Is the run game. Akeem Hicks is someone who knows the play, knows the scheme, knows the blocking scheme before the play even happens. He knows where to go. I don't know how he does it, but that's why he's so valuable, and that's why he was an All-Pro last year. It's because he was able to do that. And because of that, no running back got by him. This dude's a monster. So it's more his ability to know plays before they happen. The pass rush for you guys, it's Leonard Floyd, who has done nothing against any other team except the Packers. I think he's got 7 sacks or something against the Packers and like nothing against everyone else. And that's the guy who's been really the home wrecker in the pass rush. But I'm more excited to see Akeem back in the run game.
Offensive line was they were lining him up on the left side versus Bakhtiari. But Bakhtiari was always worried about Lane Taylor. You have no idea watching film, Austin, of this offensive line, the difference between Lane Taylor at left guard and Elton Jenkins at left guard. It is completely different. And I'm not saying those guys aren't going to matter, but you know just from any tackle position, it's a much harder to do your job against any – because like Leonard Floyd – he's in the NFL. He's starting on a damn good defense.
He's a top 10 numbers, pick.
But he's a premier athlete, that needs to be respected, even though he doesn't have numbers. I mean, otherwise they would have cut him. He's still playing because obviously they're grading him out good enough to not replace him. I mean,
the one thing with Floyd I've noticed is, especially with Rodgers is able to break, contain, and go and try and scramble instead of play. Floyd, that's where he excels. Floyd is so fast for being a guy his size, and he's able to track down Rodgers. And that's why he has so many sacks, is because they're literally like telling Floyd, hey, you got to watch out. Rodgers is going to kick out almost on every play, and Floyd has the speed to catch up to him. Mack, once he comes on the corner and Rodgers dodges him, Mack keeps going. He doesn't really have that turnaround that Floyd does where he has those swivel hips and just go. Floyd is that. And, I mean, Floyd doesn't have the numbers Mack does, obviously, but – I mean, Floyd still has that versatility. He's a good pass coverage as well.
On scramble. Mm-hmm. He really does. I mean, on film, that's where he seems to excel on. He might get beat and be beat, but he doesn't give up on the play because he's just coached, and I think he knows himself that as long as he's not on the ground and his big, long frame is up and he can get a run when Rodgers goes, he does have the athleticism to track him down. And I mean, we've seen it over and over again with Rodgers, and it seems to frustrate the hell out of Aaron too. I mean, so I give Floyd credit for I mean, like I said, he's a hell of an athlete. His numbers aren't there, but he's not scrub. I mean, that's from an outside view when you watch him on film. Very underrated
coverage guy too.
Yes, they ask him to do different things too than I guess when I notice when I'm watching your guys' games, even on replays and stuff. They ask him to do. He's a lot more of a Preston Smith on your team than he is the Zadarius Smith. I think Zadarius and Mack play a similar role, whereas Preston and Floyd on the opposite side are playing a much different role. They pass rush a lot, but their athleticism and length on that side gives their defensive coordinators a lot of opportunity to disguise and do different things on that side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Confuse the left tackle.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Austin.
I don't really. I don't have much of that, but I mean, I agree with that. I think it's, we've been frustrated with Floyd since he's been here because I just think we're expecting too much. But I mean, like you said, he does a lot of the stuff that's not on a stat sheet, containment and coverage and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right, but still we expect a little bit more production out of someone like Leonard Floyd, who we drafted 8th, from Georgia, whatever, 2-3 years ago at this point. But yeah, I mean, I know what you mean.
Now, do you expect